they do, possibly this is another area where you can look at that.
Should very fast bans, by the way, coming in. Same bans for Copenhagen Wolves, nothing changed. Copy again. I mean, you can do exactly the same here, technically. You can first pick the Braum if you want. And I think it's...
I mean, why not?
Yeah, it's good.
But at the same time, like, Huma might try and mirror what they were doing in the last game and go like Nautilus Gragas.
Honestly, I don't think there's a problem with doing that.
No, because really you put it top lane, right?
Yeah, because what's the thing now is, oh no, we showed that Nautilus can go mid as well. Ah, damn. What are they going to do about it? Not a whole lot. So I actually don't mind them doing exactly the same.
Yeah. I mean, they did fine in the game. Like, he was just all that Baron play. That game was theirs. Like, they just need to do the same thing, just like Edge of Tomorrow, and then reset and actually just do the same. They actually go for the Trundle here. Okay.
Interesting.
Which is still a flex. Like, it can go top, it can go
I would say
support.
Early picking it here is most likely they want it for the support either way. Obviously, they're going to be happy with it, but now, as you said, fast lock-ins.
Yeah,
the thing is, both teams have shown they want a team fight. Copenhagen Wolves especially have shown they will take any team fight possible. Like, if there's just a slight chance of a fight, like, oh, are you doing Wolf Camp? We will fight you for that one, you know? And they will rush in and try and fight you for it. So I feel like you just draft a full-on teamfight composition again, and you try and just, like, basically out-teamfight them. Because none of the teams have shown, even in the Challenger Series, yes, okay, Whirlip is a known split pusher, but we haven't seen them win games by split pushing, you know, playing proper 1-3-1.
Amumu Misfortune, let's go.
Yeah, curse of the snap. Make it happen. Holy Canadians plays Misfortune.
Everything.
I'm sure someone on this team is playing Mumu. Let's ship it.
We actually haven't seen a Misfortune game from him. We've seen just about every other playable AD character.
He played it in the he played it in the qualifiers. He played it in IWCA. So he had a lead up, and then Misfortune had the hit in very early on in the matches, and we didn't see him play it since.
We're not going to see it this game either, folks.
No surprise, Ezreal again. We're looking team fighting. Same deal. Massive front line. Ezreal in the back, and if you cannot get through the tanks, the Ezreal will just slowly but surely take you down.
But then, in this situation, in this pick and ban, we're in the reverse from last game. It's like, the Trundle's picked up, so the Nautilus here, does it go to mid lane? Yes, it does. No, sorry, it stays top. I was going to say, they could put it mid lane here and get a top laner to go against the Trundle. So now we actually do have the favorable matchup of the Trundle into the Nautilus. So it is Nautilus top without Corki being locked.
We just have to remember, again, Trundle needs a bit of time before he starts winning that 1v1. Yeah. So Copenhagen Wolves are very clearly saying we're fighting already from like 15 minutes forward. You know, we have Corki in here. Sivir gave her one item, and then her utility she offers is very good, and her base damage early on Boomerang is very strong, obviously. And we know Nautilus, we've seen it time and time again. So Copenhagen Wolves are just gonna force fights over and over and over from the 15-minute mark and forward. And that's a Cassiopeia here.
Okie dokie. Where is this going?
That's mid.
I mean, mid lane.
I mean, it has to be.
Yeah, it's not blue side, so you can't do the good old Cassiopeia
Stop it. Stop it.
It is gonna be mid lane.
It's gonna be mid.
Interesting choice.
If ever there was a...
And by interesting, I mean, I don't like it.
I don't like it, but like Cassiopeia, a good Cassiopeia in team fights...
Yeah, but
it's like damage output is insane. So then you've got to try and team fight.
Yeah, Cassiopeia's main problem and the reason she fell out of favor was that there were so many things that had longer range than her.
Yeah.
That could then either prevent it from dealing damage or just one-shot it straight away, which technically also prevents it from dealing damage. So it's kind of the same. You are against Nautilus, Lee Sin, Braum, and the mobility that Sivir offers to make these targets get to the Cassiopeia every time. Like, Guardbro has to land the sickest ultis in these team fights.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's gonna be tricky for him to deal damage, but both him and Ezreal are like in that situation. If they avoid the main engage, the consistent damage they can deal after is pretty strong.
Not only that, I feel like the lane matchup against a Corki is one that I'm not a big fan of. I mean,
Cassiopeia has a strong laning phase.
She does, but then now, like, how are you going to wave clear and try and combat the Corki's ability to roam? In this game, Godbro's going to do it with a teleport on Cassiopeia as well. And with an exhaust on Cadril, there is no ability to, like, trade effectively prolonged. Like, any all-in is going to go in favor of the Corki.
Well, potentially for the last time today, hop back on Twitter, use the hashtag CWWin and HMA win. We've got the full compositions lining up. And it's currently 2-0 to the Copenhagen Wolves. Potentially a surprise coming into this best of 5 in the grand finals here in the Spring Split Challenger Series. But yeah, we'll be getting on to the Rift very shortly. And this could be the clean sweep. I was not expecting it, but then again, I wasn't expecting the clean sweep last time from Copenhagen Wolves against Millennium. So we can see all the champions loading in here. And you can see the mid lane and the Nexus. That's what you want to kill at the end of the game.
Some logos as well, if you want to continue the trend.
Birds and wolves.
And here's Ku and Rudy.
Rudy is going to move away. Uses the body slam.
So again, with these comps, we talked about Copenhagen Wolves. You know, that is fighting in the mid game. It's another reason I feel like this Cassiopeia pick is so extremely risky because
They're fighting already.
I mean, we're level 1, we're fighting, boys. That's it. But with Gadbro here and also Cassiopeia, you want to stack up, especially her passive. You want to stack it up. You want to get like 2 items under your belt. So you also have some survivability. The old Cassiopeia build was always go tier early, get Seraphs very quickly, get it fully stacked so you get that extra shield. And then you can kind of stay fairly close in fights and just spam away damage. Getting to that point again against a comp that very clearly wants to fight you in the mid game is super, super tricky. Gadbro might just go all in lane, and then he can always TP back to lane, and he will therefore burn the potions of the Corki, the 1 potion. And then we get another fight, by the way.
Oh, man. Pulverize onto Pinoy. Probably going to land on the auto attack before he backs off, and Holy thinks over the wall as well. That's shot.
And this is
a good trade.
That's big, though.
Big difference from what we saw in the semi-finals was we would see trades like this happen, and then people start burning flashes to escape and chase and try and get away. This time, Holy Phoenix and Sunuksalot, Holy Phoenix and Cass are just like, okay, well, we got good damage now. We burned the potion down. This should give us a bit of a laning advantage.
Problem is they had to take a longer route around, so they actually lost the first push coming in for it. And you can see also what Sivir will do is she will start flicking W and then spamming
push everything.
auto attacks on the waves, and it's not very difficult to do, and it's very effective. It gives you an early level 2, and you burn the potion. That was the advantage, or 2 potions because 1 from each. That was the advantage Huma got from this. But an Ezreal Alistar lane will not do anything in the laning phase. Like, you will literally sit there at your tower and just last it and last it and last it. Probably lasted a bit more.
Difficult for a Sivir and a Braum to do anything on top of that, though. You okay?
I'm fine.
Okay, good.
The fadeaway last.
I'm about to get choked a little bit in the end.
Rudy's heading top. We saw this similar pathing out from Ku in game 1.
Also against the Nautilus.
Yeah, it's the same play again. This time, I think it was
just
something weird happened there. Yeah, he didn't actually get knocked back. I think Rudy didn't have momentum anymore coming in from his E, so he just flashed on top of him and nothing happened.
Okay, Deficio's gonna check it out.
All right.
I'm on it.
Break it down.
Yeah.
Just because my brain just remembers everything. I totally do not have a second screen where I go back and watch.
Yeah, he's
it
in
was
his
early.
palace.
He was trying to predict the flash, and Rudy flashed in early, and Wicked didn't quite flash far enough. I guess for his sake, that was a good thing. So yeah, it didn't quite line up. I'm gonna take everybody on a history lesson that maybe doesn't really know Ku. So no, there's going to be people that maybe haven't seen Ku outside of a couple of games in the LCS where Lee Sin hasn't been particularly meta when he was playing. Ku, in the very old days, Season 3, Season 4, was known as like a Lee Sin near one trick in Challenger. If Ku was on Lee Sin, he would carry a game regardless of the opponents, regardless of anything else. So the fact that he's picking Lee in an important match, in a matchup that is okay for Lee into Gragas, I'm looking forward to seeing what Ku can do now on his old signature pick.
I was back in like Cloud9 Eclipse days.
Yeah, but he's such an interesting player because back then, the likes of like Alex Ish and so on, they were hyping him up.
Yeah.
Playing a lot of solo queue with him, saying like, this guy is like the new superstar jungler in Europe, and he obviously was on Cloud9 Eclipse back then, even joined NIP. And he had fantastic mechanics. Problem is, he was 17, and he also went out later on in his career and said he made some mistakes back then. He was a little bit too immature maybe in the way he was interacting with his teammates.
Sure.
And it cost him quite a lot because he got set really far behind, and he was in the LCS shortly, playing for Giants, but then obviously got replaced. Now he's going to gank mid lane because this Cassiopeia has very low mobility.
And the jump after, that's the flash away by cover, and
damn.
He hyped up his mechanics.
Yeah.
The sidestep, I know, I'm messing.
Yeah. Just banter.
Yeah. That's how we cover for it.
Yeah, exactly. And we're from the UK, we can make that work. That is the Tear of the Goddess, picked up by Godbro in the mid lane, so he's going to be stacking on up.
Yep.
Rudy has gone for a very early jungle potion.
Yeah, Hunter's Potion, interesting.
Rather than opting for...
Guys, they're fighting.
I know, it's like... Also
No
in the
one's
back, like,
gonna
it's
die,
Ezreal,
like,
Alistair.
come on.
I want to hear the play-by-play.
Said
Oh,
it.
they're trading back and forth here. And a minion and a
auto-attack,
heal.
yes.
Oh,
It's not
insane.
horse racing, Deficio.
It's coming around
I
the
mean, well,
bend.
then again, I guess that's what Whirlip was trying to do in the last three. He's
True.
coming around the bend, going over the barrier. He's got it.
Yeah.
And tea
That's
time.
how they commentate horse racing, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly like that. There you go. If this doesn't work out, I'll become a horse commentator.
A horse commentator.
I don't think you're horse
Not even the
commentator.
racing bit.
I'll just think of a
stand,
horse
look at
and
horses
be a
and talk
commentator.
about them.
I'll get one of those horse
Field.
masks and then just, yeah, that'll be me.
Pulse, they're ganking mid again.
They are, but there's no kick to Deficio, so I think Godbro is probably okay. Maybe
I
not.
think
That's
you
a
are
first
wrong.
bomb. I am incorrect.
Go back to
First
your
blood.
horses.
Oh, Koo, he's ticking down from the poison, but it was only miasma. It wasn't from the Noxious Blast, so he's good.
You're what?
The Noxious
It's okay.
Blast?
It
sounded really
You
really
called
weird.
stress.
There's no horses there, but there's a cow getting caught out.
Yeah, the cow, not so good at racing. He will get a triple man knock up and he'll flash away. Rudy's there to body block. And he has a big body to block, so he's going to be getting the cow out.
I really heard something different.
Yes.
I'm 100% sure. Anyhow, Godbro is he's back mid.
Sure.
He's,
That's what I have to work with.
he's stacking the tier. Let's see the replay here where Pulse called that Godbro was going to be okay. And as we can see here on the replay, Godbro is clearly not okay.
Well, Koo was almost not okay either. But he was.
He was, and then he was.
Alright. So after all of that, K-Draw is 10 CS ahead in mid lane and got that kill. So far, Cassiopeia not particularly working out as well as they may have wanted, but of course it is later on into the game where you want the pick to start getting better, but
do you really
this
trust-
is like dark omens.
Do you trust in your team right now to actually get to the late game point when you know that Copenhagen Wolves has so much engaged and they want to fight you over and over? I mean, that's really the tricky thing, right? This mid tower has very little defense because it's just a Cassiopeia wave clearing.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, you can put down the W, you can put down the Q as much as you want. The problem is, like, at one point, there's going to be 4 people in front of this tower, and you've got to try and
They
land a
just dive you as
4-person
well.
ult. Yeah, exactly. 4 people are going to be there, and you have to react to it. So that's going to be the tough.
Keep in mind, Braum can also block quite a lot of your damage when it comes to the
Yep.
fights. In there, same goes for an Ezreal with his ulti. Like, if Sir nukes a lot, keeps playing as well as he's been playing the last 2 games in fights, he can really shut down these damage dealers from Huma. And we don't have the same tanky lineup where we're basically saying, oh, just engage any fight possible. You're nearly unkillable against double AD carry. There are some squishy members now with both Holy Phoenix and Godbro. And even Whirlip, because it is a Trundle, he will go for a damage item and then get tanky a bit later and has to steal stats. So he can't dive in the same way a Nautilus can. But he will be a split pushing threat, so it is Whirlip's go-to option, especially when his team is down.
Right.
It's like, let's see if I can like take 3 towers, take your Nexus, take your game, whatever it is you want to take.
That is the goal.
That is the goal.
That
I mean,
is.
When you
that
take
is
down the
that is
Nexus,
the
the
win
game does
condition.
also end.
Kill the Nexus.
That's a nice set of buzzwords you got there. I'm
I
going to throw out
prepared
some
them.
old school ones. Just quickly, double tier. We're going old school with
That's
some
an old one.
buzzwords. That's an old one.
Double Aegis as well.
Do we have a Trinity Force spike on Corki? We do. Yeah, there's some old. Yeah, I'm feeling good about this.
Still works. Still
Yeah,
works.
it's good. That's my analysis.
You're going a lot of the history part here.
I know, right?
You as well.
Well, that's my analysis. Rudy's.
Oh!
He's out. He's just kind of, yeah. He's kind of knocked him back to his tower there.
We also got a flash.
He did, yes. But he just looked kind
It does mean Wolves might be able to dive bot side. TP
Here
and
comes the
Wicked
TP.
as well. He's pretty low though, and Holy
Gonna
Phoenix.
kick him against the wall, lands the Q. That
Oh.
should be a dead Holy Phoenix. Nope, he's out. He's got the flash, he's got the E, but now there's 5 people wanting Holy Phoenix, and Cass is gonna go down first, but now all of the walls are chasing after him. Swiggity Swooty coming for Holy Phoenix. Oh, Dredgeline doesn't land. Someone's gonna kill him.
The tower.
Bop.
No,
Got
Pinoy takes it.
5-man bot lane party is going to transition into a couple of kills there. Now
tower.
top tower, yeah. Whirlip is pushing on.
Pushing this mid lane. They don't really take it very quickly though, because they are Cassiopeia Gragas.
So if Copenhagen Wolves can get bot off from this, which they should be able to, I like the play a lot. Because again, you want to speed up the game. You want to open up the map with your Sivir anyway, and your hard engage from from this Nautilus coming in later, and also Lee Sin does so well when he can pick these targets off. So I really like this play overall. Instant dive in. There's no TP reaction from Whirlip to this. Basically saying, as a team, okay, we can't defend this. It's 5v2. Just try and take top tower instead of it. But it gives Copenhagen Wolves a tower now and gives them more kills. And then you can swap Pinoy to top side.
Yeah.
And Trundle has no wave clear. Cassiopeia has no proper wave clear. Ezreal has very weak wave clear. So by constant moving your AD carry, like Pinoy should go top here. He should not run back to bot lane. I don't think there's anything for him to do bottom side unless Wolves are putting so much focus on Dragon. They want to push out bot lane and then take a Dragon. But your objective is not to get 5 dragons and wait 30 minutes and then win the game.
No.
Your objective is to fast push in these towers and speed up the game. You can even see Whirlip win bot lane because he's like, well, Pinoy is probably going to go top right, so I'm just going to leave that lane. And now he's on the bottom side.
Yeah, and Ezreal's down there. Holy
Wicked.
Phoenix and Whirlip, like everybody's here. And there's been seemingly no communication. Whirlip's now like backing off, like, okay, I guess I'll go top.
Yeah, now he's to recall and go back top.
But the thing is now, so he just lost an entire wave. Or 2, depending on how many died before this pushed up. So now he's either got to like TP up there or walk and lose more.
Well, he takes tower.
He stays here, now they're just going to try and push bottom lane, yeah. So he is going to lose more. This just gives Wicked so much time.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
Now they're just taking the tower. This is so weird. It's like
he can still defend.
Now he's TPing, okay.
Okay, now Wicked back away.
This is really weird.
This is. It's like Huma got invited to a party and then there was no one there, but they made their own party. Mid lane, Ku.
Does that happen
off tower shot?
Yeah,
unfortunately it does. Forever alone.
I'm not going to invite you to my party.
What? Wow.
So, in that middle lane though, Flash was used by Godbro, got the ult. Exhaust was used from Kadril. We finally found out what it'll take for Kadril not to take TP, or at least have that kind of global. Apparently a Cassiopeia that he needs an exhaust against will do it. So that is one, normally good thing for Wolves. They don't have that available to.
EUCS is taking a lot of damage. Miasma on the follow-up, but meanwhile mid lane, Godbro is dropping low. One more auto attack will finish him off, but Rudy managed to get the better of Braum in that one and take him down. 1 against the Feralior there. That will be Herald also dropping. I'll be going over the Q.
We're seeing some strange small things here. EUCS trying to clear ward in the river when his team has already run to the Rift Herald. It's like, you have no business moving out there because there's a chance you get caught out and you're all alone. Or at least no one can help you enough to save you. But again, also, all these plays before, I'm almost 100% sure Whirlip was like, they're going to swap Sivir top. If I go bot lane, we can fast push in that tower and we can trade towers. But then because Copenhagen Wolves didn't do that for whatever reason, Wicked got some free farm and also got a lot of damage on that top lane tower. Huma still did get the bot lane, so it is even in turrets, but they are behind in gold, and that advantage Whirlip had from before where Wicked TP'd away is now gone because of that entire play. So I guess Copenhagen Wolves mind-gamed them, or maybe Huma mind-gamed himself? I'm not too sure.
Well, there's no mind games going on here because Wolves just show up middle lane. It's just like, well, we're not going to have you guess anything. We're just going to show 3 people and try and
side lane. They can dive Godbro so easy. With Nautilus Lee Sin, Godbro's dead.
Yeah, no flash either. He has his ultimate.
Yeah, they have to
They're
just
not
go.
going to come in from one angle, so he can't land a triple man ult if they go for the dive.
I like the fact that Godbro is respecting it. He's like, okay, you enter my jungle, instant just back away. Don't risk it, because Trundle is pushing bot side. Wicked will recall and go catch that wave. Could have done a little bit earlier, but he wanted to set up that potential dive. And now this is because of that play before where Willip left the lane. Tower is now open for Wolves, and they have 2-1.
Willip actually does a lot of damage to turrets. It's just like every time he just whacks it with his trudgeon, it's like a lot of damage. And now with the frozen domain, it's going to be the hook landing onto Willip, but because he hasn't actually hit Wicked yet. Okay, now he's got Tower Pro. That was the ultimate being used. Willip still taking a little damage. Riptide did a lot there. Meanwhile, Ku's gotten caught out by Rudy. He's going to pop the ultimate, keeping with the stun lock coming in from the E and the ult combo. Now Ku will back away. EUCS was there to support him. Bot lane Willip did get out alive. I believe he popped Subjugate, but now in his trade he won't have it anymore. And because the W is still on Wicked, he's doing a lot of damage in return. Frozen Domain will get a bit of distance for Whirlip. It's going to be the flash after the response with another flash from Whirlip.
18
Wicked
second
is really just him
cooldown
landing the dredge line, which will be quite a while. There it goes. Doesn't land. The barrel roll.
Rudy flashed for that one.
He's out of there.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, he tried to flash body slam into him.
Yeah, it's because he knew Kuz was still down from being in the jungle earlier.
Just before, but again, a lot of these small fights happening. Whirlip on the tower when he gets hooked in by Wicked, literally all you have to do is just run. Like, don't auto attack him. You took like 2-3 tower shots from it, but then lose some of the fights. And again, he goes Titanic Hydra, so we actually agree with this build compared to the Iceborne Gauntlet into Deadman's Plate we saw last game from Wicked on Trundle. So you're gonna have a strong split pusher here from Huma's side, but they have lost 2 outer turrets. The map is open. Next objective for Copenhagen Wolves is obviously push in lane, get deep vision in one of the sides of the jungle, and then start playing around these 2 lanes. And then you open up that mid tower because no one can stand safely in mid if you are Huma. It takes a lot of time for you to wave clear. And if they're also pushing on one of the side lanes around it, they walk into the jungle and you're forced to back away, otherwise they go dive you. So it becomes very difficult for Huma now to kind of slow down the game. And Wolves are just going to look for even more fights.
There's been a mentality shift slightly, boys. Not only is it Lee Sin for Ku, he's building that kind of mix of damage now as well. Isn't just bailing out to tank after the early game. He's going, give me a Hex Drinker. I'm going to make that into a Maw. Maybe get myself something like Asterix after. I'm just going to play like full solo Q Lee Sin at this point.
Well, he also went Warriors into Skirmishes. So instead of going Trackers, which is usually the wards that you get for your ward jumps, he went Sightstone after that. So he's just looking for more and more damage.
Not going tank.
No, that's the TLDR. But yeah, Wolves, I mean, they can afford to play a little cocky in a game like this where they're 2 wins over their opponents in the best of 5. They just need 1 win here to go into promotion tournaments with first seed. So they would only be 1 win and 1 best of 5 away from the LCS, which is what the teams are fighting for here today.
Bro might get caught out here.
Yep.
Yeah, he's going to look for that ultimate, but Ku hits him with the ultimate beforehand. That's a 2-man ultimate, and actually, Cass comes in with a knock-up onto Caedrel. The Gatling gun wasn't enough to finish off Cassiopeia, and now with the rest of the team coming in, this might be enough. Huma will lose Rudy. Cass has already gone into Unbreakable Will, but they broke his will, and he's dead. And Holy Phoenix is over the wall, putting out some damage. Godbro, he didn't go back to base, and he's going to die.
Minions are going to kill him.
I guess he could maybe run all the way down, but he was so low, and I don't know, again, this Cassiopeia pick, there's just nowhere on the map for it to be, because if she sits at a tower, she gets tower dived and killed.
Yeah.
If she walks into the enemy jungle, she gets caught up by, you know, extra mobility from Lee Sin, from anything almost. Like, even the red buff could probably kill her at this point. So...
Well, the minions just killed her there, so...
Right, I mean...
Conclusive.
You saw it.
Case closed.
Analysis right there. It's just such an issue because you're still looking to scale up on it. And like Gabbro is like trying to see if he can make it into the mid lane, but there's obviously deep vision. This is what we talked about. Push up mid, get deep vision.
Yeah.
And then you control the jungle.
Ku tries to outplay there, turning his back. Just when he thinks Godbro is going to land the optimal ult, Godbro actually ults it like a third of a second longer, and he's like, haha, I got you. It didn't really result in too much because Wolves right now have enough of a mix of damage and survivability for a fight like this. This is like perfect for them. They want these small skirmishes where they have the numbers advantage from the very first minute.
They just want to fight right now.
Exactly. I mean, nothing has changed the entire series.
No. But now they've come for it.
No, I know what you mean. It's like they've got the good setup for it. Like Willib's even mid lane trying to push out. Like, yes, Willib got the tower in the end, which is nice, but...
So now do we start questioning like the choices from Huma in terms of champion select? This is like, because they're looking for later game picks. You've got Cassio who scales, Ezreal who scales, Trundle who needs to get out of the early game, who scales into the late game. Like, we know we're going to be fighting very early into the game over like random objectives, so why not go for a strong early mid card?
There's been some big question marks in the pick and ban phase. Who's Sang Dragon? He's okay. Like, again, game 1, first pick Lucian.
Yep.
Like, why? Why do you need to first pick Lucian right here when there's so many other good AD carries right now and you give over Braum Gragas? Lucian hasn't been played in any other game now.
No?
So he was just like, highest priority, and we don't want to play him. Then, of course, the last game, I actually liked the tank setup they have.
Yep.
Swapping the Nautilus mid lane. We can then argue, was the Hecarim the correct choice or not? We didn't get to see it have much of an impact, also because he went Trinity Force first. And then this game, with the Cassiopeia last pick coming in, some big question marks where it feels like Huma maybe is trying to invent their own meta a little bit instead of trying to follow.
Ku jumps into the pit. He's trying to get the steal, but he's going 6 feet under.
But you don't need to invent your own meta, right? Like, in neither of these games, the previous ones or this one, have we seen any impact on Rammus in pick ban phase? Whereas in the LCS last week, for Europe specifically, 9 games played, and I believe it was 7-2 overall. Not like, obviously results aren't everything, but it's a strong pick in the current meta right now.
So showing the replay of who trying to steal the dragon.
Also, Sir Nuxalot nearly gets this one as well. Yeah.
Rudy blocked it though.
Yeah.
Yeah, he goes down. Talking about Rammus though as well, it's been a highly contested pick for Huma because Werlip has had it banned out against him like what, 6 times in the regular season. Like people feared this against Huma, so it was a pick they could bring out. He just didn't pick it.
I also could understand why you wouldn't want to run it into the Trundle. We did see that with the Unicorns of Love series from this past week, where Chachi just ran out of options because he could never sit in front of the Trundle. So I do kind of concede that.
Yeah, but then it's a different playstyle, right? Because like if you're looking towards mid game, you just roam, you try and get picks, and actually he's a pretty decent duelist until Trundle gets later into the game because of Tremors always being up. But yeah, like we're constantly talking about like picks and bans and drafts, but it's also like in-game decision making has definitely been
guess the right one
from.
Oh, you saw him.
What's a 1 and 3? It's like the ball is constantly moving though. That's the problem. He's being tricked. There was a
over-chasing here.
Yeah, he's gonna get punished. I mean, I think Ku has just gone full solo queue here.
We're going full solo queue now.
Yep.
From Ku. First, trying to steal a dragon, which I think is completely unnecessary in this display.
Boots, Hex Drink.
I mean, I've seen this lucidity build before from Dardak over in from Team Liquid. Like,
that's fair.
Aim for getting your flash cooldown down, because like the main thing about Lee Sin in a team fight is being able to kick flash someone in and then signal them out.
But then Dardak didn't jump into Dragon.
He didn't do that. That's then the difference for now. Good ulti from Nukes a lot, but it's still 4v5.
Well, up, lands the pillar. Oh, force a flash. Okay, I see that. I see the flash.
And yeah, sure, you're 2-0, but why even give your team a chance?
Yeah.
You had a composition that are so strong in here in the mid game. You're taking down 4 towers already. This enemy jungle should be yours. There should be no way for Huma to sit here and farm, scale up, tier fully stacked now for Holy Phoenix. Guardbro stacking his tier. I'm just looking over here. It is basically completed now, so that was good timing talking about it. You've just allowed Huma now to slow down the game, hit a few spikes, and suddenly we might get a much more competitive game compared to Wolves just snowballing.
Break their spirit.
Especially with double Sightstone and 3 blue trinkets. Like, you should have their whole jungle lit up. Like, it's only 1 more ward than Attrackers would give you, but it's still another ward to place. Like, and you look at the actual vision control on the Huma jungle, there's like 1 ward, I think. It's 1 tucked right behind Raptors, and 1 right in mid lane. That's like it. There's no vision control up there, and it's because Ku just died in that kind of setup.
Twice.
He could have been twice. Yeah, he could have been on his way into ward with the rest of his team, but he was on the way on his own. He just gets picked up.
Trying to steal a dragon in like a crazy, not even 50-50 situation, because you gotta jump in over and everything, just slows down your entire team. Again, all the top teams around the world, it's all about, you know, tempo, fast-paced, push your advantage, always deny as much as you can. For Wolves, the last 5 minutes, it's been, let's walk around and then try random 1v5 plays.
Yep, we China now.
Okay, so this is not something I've seen all that much, and I kind of want to get your opinion on it. Feelings on Spirit Visage second item Gragas. My feeling is there are just better second items for MR, like Locket.
Happy hour hype.
Maybe for that CDR that comes with it, but...
I mean, Locket will always be the team build that most junglers will aim for, but Rudy very clearly is saying, I need to be extremely tanky, and then Locket is much better than... then Spirit Visage is a lot better. Tankiness is helping him out, but like, physical damage from Sivir, from Lee Sin, the small bit from the Corki, I'm not sure I would have rushed straight MR item. I think you can just sit on the cowl and then complete an armor item instead, because... I mean, sure, you're gonna take quite some magic damage from the Corki, but Wicked is never gonna hit you, like ever. It's literally just the Corki damage he's purely itemizing for, so I do agree with you. I would then almost prefer to lock it more and then an armor item for him, so at least the entire team benefits.
But it does help the healing coming in from the Hunter's Potion.
Yeah,
he's gonna.
That's the value.
You know what? The next one is he's gonna buy a Dark Seal just to assist that even more. Oh, fight mid lane.
Oh,
he got Nuxalot.
Nuxalot jumps into the team. Will be popping the ultimate now and locks everyone down. Copenhagen Wolves are losing members left and right. Ku is gonna be sacrificed so that Sivir may live and will die for his sins. 3 for 1. 3 for 0 actually, and Huma get away with that team fight.
Wicked had no teleport, and Copenhagen Wolves have taken the entire game plan and literally just destroyed it. They have no clue now what to do. They're just kind of hovering around mid. Wicked is trying to see if he can stop. Pinoy is there, but Pinoy is very low.
He is. Here comes Ricochet.
Wicked just has to get in there almost.
Wicked, he just, yeah, exactly. He just needs to try and get inside the Baron pit.
But man,
This Baron will just go down to Huma. There you go.
super good engage from Huma in the mid lane. They've shown, you know, with cast on Alistar, they're not afraid to jump in, flash engage. And then, like, look here, so he hit what's the wrong target technically back. He wants to get K-Drill, but Nuxalot is staying on him. But then Guardbro now, even though he gets kicked back, there's no damage because the tanks have already dealt with this backline, and Guardbro stays alive, and Wicked is running from the bottom lane.
And the most curious thing about this whole situation is you look at what the comps want to do, you look at how they play out. Wicked TP'd to the bottom lane from halfway between mid and bot because Whirlib was pushing up to the tower, rather than utilizing the numbers advantage to maybe start a fight for the Wolves, which is what their comp we looked at really wants to do right now. He TPs defensively, and that allows Whirlib to just go, okay, well, I'll just run up to mid and we'll start a fight.
And we talked about this, like, what, 3-4 minutes ago? With Ku's solo actions happening and Copenhagen Wolves doing nothing on the map, Huma got to stack these tiers here, and, like, they are suddenly very, very strong. And they are leading in this game, despite falling so far behind. And the compositions with this Cassiopeia with nowhere to be on the map, now she can just join in for team fights, and you can always engage with Alistar and Gragas.
That was such a misplay because Huma were basically locked out of the game. They were never going to reach the point in the game where they could start scaling with Cassiopeia, Ezreal, and Trundle, but now they've hit that point, and the Lee Sin pick is now basically reduced to trying to make plays with the ultimate, kick people into the team and try and pick people off. Like, I don't see what the damage build does anymore.
And look at the difference between when Huma are now ahead and when Wolves were ahead. Huma instantly set up vision bot side. There are a couple of wards that have died since for them, but they just littered wards all the way through the bottom side jungle, all the way into the Wolves territory. So it allows them, with this Baron buff, very easily to just walk up in this bottom lane, take it out, because they know nobody's there to defend.
And a full credit to Huma for sticking together as a team. I know it sounds kind of boring, but in a game where you start falling behind and you're down 2-0, it's very easy for a lot of players to kind of go a bit crazy and be like, oh, I'm going to try and make solo plays. I will be the big carry, right? You would do that, Pulse, probably. In this case, Huma here actually stuck together quite a lot and made some calls like, hey, let's take Dragon here, let's just get what we can on the map. And then with Ku jumping in twice, trying to 1v3 them and like make some crazy outplays, they just killed them and they just bought enough time, and now they're confident they can just team fight.
Mid tower is being sieged in. Holy Phoenix is just speeding up the attack speed of Essence Flux. And yeah, I mean, everything's coming up gravy for Huma, honestly, in this game. 4,000 Baron power play. 20 seconds left on that one. I'm not sure if they're going to get another tower being top's being pushed in actually by Whirlib. So could see just a swift rotation up to top lane, land some wards in the top jungle. I mean, the minion wave's still there. Wicked is having a very hard time clearing these minions. Here comes Huma. Looking for the siege to happen. There's still minions there. Now they're being cleared away, so maybe this will be a little bit harder. Maybe they'll stick around and keep that minion alive. No, he's dead.
Well, last time we saw them stick around when they had like 2,000 gold each. This time it's about 1,000 if I remember. They want to keep the advantage. They have no other lane right now really threatening Copenhagen Wolves. I think bot lane is pushing away from Huma, so they have to just back away. They're not going to gain anything here. And we got to see now, have they learned anything from the last game with the shot calling? You know, are they going to try a super risky play again, even though they are in a great position to win this game?
Well, right now, their way out of this game isn't have Whirlib teleport in to engage for a fight. It's have Whirlib in the side lane and push, and just keep pushing. And hopefully he drags a second person over, and then you start the fight. So hopefully we shouldn't have any of those weird Hecarim runaround engages where he doesn't actually go in. So this time it should be a lot more straightforward for Huma just to go, well, do we have to fight? No. Do we have to fight? No.
The flowchart is very easy in this one versus last game where there were like multiple options and they all pointed to lose the game. So
they all pointed to spaghetti.
Yeah. There was spaghetti all over the floor last game. Not good. But currently, yeah, Huma have a pretty significant advantage of 3,000 gold. Now they've gone back to base and actually cashed in the gold into items. So you've got Iceborne Gold in the top lane, Thorn Mail now picked up as well, and the Fist. Whirlib just stepping that cube real quick. Bot lane is sitting on 3 items. Like, they're just outgunning pretty much everyone on Copenhagen Wolves here in terms of items. And in these team fights, like, I don't really see what Copenhagen Wolves do now.
Get a big crit from Sivir.
I mean, it's going to be one of these fights where Ku kind of makes up for his mid-game, and he singles out Guardbro, Holy Phoenix, kicks them back, and almost in, like, while Guardbro's flying in the air, they have to kill him because he has Hourglass and also has the shield coming in. So it is one of these situations where you need a massive outplay suddenly from a team to win, and with flashes ready, it's also on Huma's backline to then overextend. Because like when you see Ku come flying in, you respect it. And it's better than to then try and flash away and not get kicked back. Or just instant hourglass potentially. Because you have a great line to protect you in front of you with the Alistar, Trundle and the Gragas. And it's just about do not die to the Lee Sin kicking you back into the damage dealers and you win the fight.
Sounds easy.
Yeah,
It gets easier at least when you're Ezreal, first of all. And you have Hourglass, you have flashes. I mean, it gets easier and easier. It can still happen.
Are you saying you wouldn't die to Ku's Lee Sin?
If I was in here, I would have died probably like 500 times already.
I'm sorry. Sorry.
I would be the only player ever to get actually reported in a professional match. Because people say, what's happening here?
Get him out.
Oh, TP's coming out though. No home guard to set this up, but it's only 3 people mid.
Well, Rudy's already under attack from the Copenhagen Wolves. Cass comes in with a nice double knockup onto Kadril and Ku. Werlip's now coming in to reinforce the front lines. Holyfingers is getting a lot of damage down. Pinoy tries to punish him onto the left side flank of this team fight. Ku connects to Q, but I don't think he really wants to go in. Wicked pops down the Riptide. We'll have to flash away as the pillar comes up from Cass. From Werlip, rather. Too used to seeing Cass on that pick.
And Wolves, this time, they tried to set up the engage. No home guards, as you said, stress here, so kind of lackluster coming in. And also they decided they didn't want to try and kick Guardbro into the team. They actually tried to kick him away from Ku. They weren't in a position to really set up much of an engage on a proper flank. And Huma kind of out-sustains them and are still in a really good spot.
And it looked like it was good for Wolves with the fact that there were 3 people just standing around in the mid lane for Huma, but Godbro had teleport, Werlip was close enough to join the fight, and suddenly the decision to fight turns around because you're like, well, these are the 2 people that we don't really want in this fight from Huma. We want to take out 2 or 3 people and then just have the numbers for the rest of the game. Problem is, that didn't happen. Now it's a 3rd dragon that's gone over to Huma. We are very quickly closing in on a point where Huma are going to be on a Baron plus 5th dragon potential setting if it goes that far.
Yeah.
And also just like looking at items now, we talked about Locket earlier, and like most supports will get it now that you can just upgrade your Sightstone very early. So like that's what you spend your gold on, and then you rush into like a Locket. It's first item, meaning of course, as you highlighted with the Spirit Visage, journalists can build a little bit more selfish and be like, you know, I can take Spirit Visage for myself. You can then argue still, was it worth it to rush it against this comp here with still a lot of physical damage? Against the Corki, probably is, because Corki does so much damage in the mid game.
Definitely wasn't punished at all by Pinoy. And Pinoy's not had a bad performance this game. Like, in terms of his positioning, I was just tracking for the last team fight, and like, he was getting the damage when he could. He was trying to punish Holyfingers when he went forwards. Like, he's not been playing badly because, like, Pinoy historically has had some crazy plays, like getting quadra kills, going 1v5, getting pentakills. But he also just like walks into the enemy team and dies sometimes. This time he's going to try and make a play using the ultimate or jump onto Rudy. Package has been delivered. Gragas doesn't really want it. He's going to be kicked into the team. Rudy is dead. Teleport was started by Werler, but he actually decides to cancel. And now he'll just kind of walk.
Oh, they got
Phoenix. He gets CC'd up. There's a depth charge. Can they actually capitalize on this though? That was a fast heal coming out from Holy Phoenix himself, and Copenhagen will still stay packed
they
up.
They almost have to rush Baron
to
force a fight here.
Probably can.
You have to look at what Huma don't have available. No Smite, no Cassiopeia ult, no Alistar ult, no flashes. A lot of the summoners are down here. I honestly think they can just start it. Or at least go for this bait here, as they are going for it. But they give the game away. The ward goes over the edge. They're wasting the time that they had to make these options.
Yeah, you honestly have to start it just to get the fight.
Yes.
To take a 4v5. Like, yes, okay, Wicked doesn't have ulti, but you might not get a better chance, honestly, to set up these fights here if you are Copenhagen Wolves. So starting it is fine, and then disengage instantly as Huma comes close, and you just engage onto them. Guardbro with no flash can barely move into attack because there's such a high chance of him getting CC'd and killed then.
Yeah, I mean, because there's no smite, it's not even a 50-50 situation. It's like 90-10, if that, when you have a prolonged one. And as you said, they either come in early and you turn to fight, or it gets low and they have no real way of sealing it away. But really weird at the start of that initial fight because Werlip held his TP for so long, uses it too late, and then goes, okay, I don't want to come into this fight anymore. I'm not going to join the rest of the team. So that's now a cooldown. It's just over half of the way available again, but still just Werlip maybe not 100% comfortable in this game on when he should be TPing, when he should be splitting, and how that influences the rest of the team.
Yeah. Rudy's kind of alone here. Sivir popped ulti
Again,
as well.
second time in as many minutes.
Keeps happening. You have to burn the flash there. Didn't want to get the Winter's buy onto him, especially with Ku following up.
That can be big for next fight though, because again, the body slam flash is what Gragas does so well in these
Bread and butter,
late game team fights here, and that's now gone for Rudy. Still, you have flash here for you, Alistar. That can be your main engage onto the back line of Copenhagen Wolves, and everyone is hovering around this Baron.
Wicked with TP down in
They
the
want to
bottom
force
lane.
the TP. They want to force
Yeah,
the TP.
they've started it. They have to get the TP. Sivir actually recalled.
There it is. That's the TP coming in. Huma are trying to disengage. Baron almost got the knock up there.
Huma didn't have the knowledge that Sivir had recalled. So had they known that that was actually just two people on their own from the Wolves being very risky, they could have turned. But obviously, that's hindsight from our side with the spectator client. It's
Yeah.
2020, but
Yeah. God vision. It wasn't even like hindsight, because now they know like now, but yeah.
now they know.
7-6 in terms of kills. This has been like less bloody than the first two games, because Copenhagen Wolves like kind of had control of the game, and then they started playing seriously after they started losing some kills and realizing actually Huma getting quite strong now with this double tier setup, and now Trundle looking really strong as well.
Yeah.
Bunch of gold on Holy Phoenix, so he'll be going back to base most likely very shortly. Penoid's clearing out these mini waves. Obviously, Sivir has insane wave clear, so now it's really coming back down to this Baron. Historically, Huma have not done too well around these situations.
And now Wolves are starting it to force the TP from Whirlip, and then they can disengage and kind of do exactly the same. They just want to force TPs from each other. Whirlip is coming in now.
TP.
Okay, Cass coming in for the engage, looking for that knock-up to happen. There comes the ultimate. Godbro is on the backside. Ku gets a good kick into the team. They take down Cassiopeia. Ku jumps into Holding Phoenix. He'll quickly take him out. Cagel's putting down the damage onto Whirlib and Rudy. Pinoy can't quite get in range, but that was a great pillar out from Whirlib. So that was a 1-for-2 in favor of the Wolves.
Still no flash from Godbro in that fight, and again, that's the risk of this Cassiopeia. You can always get kicked back unless you pop that Outlaw so early, and if you are flying in there, you can't use it. You end up dying before you do anything, and it's always a risk for Cassiopeia. It's why she fell out of the meta, basically, because it is so hard to deal damage in these fights against the amount of CC, the range you are against, and also where Copenhagen Wolves comp here. We obviously talk about these three big tanks on the side of Huma, scaling of the carries. Sivir and Corki have fantastic late game scaling as well. Like a lot of the mid laners in Europe are like, yeah, Corki's late game is insane because he does so much magic damage now. He used to be a mid game focus champ. He's still really strong late game now.
Oh no, the flash and the Q, it just connected onto terrain. That was not good at all. That flash being burnt means they'll have to back off.
And we've been around this Baron for what, 7, 8
At
minutes?
least,
something like that?
At least, yeah. Here's the TP coming out from Godbro. This time it's just, again, to force a fight here. Well, this is actually the opposite. Normally we've been seeing people start the Baron.
I mean, they learned from last time, right? It's just like, okay, this time we turn, but they do it preemptively. And now they're going on to the Baron, but they need to find the right time to do it. Again, Dredge Line doesn't land. Godbro, I don't think that ultimate hit anyone, really. It just hit a tank. And Holy Phoenix is down, so is Godbro. Both of the DPSs are out of the fight. Now only tanks remain out from Huma. Cagel was traded, but it doesn't matter. Copenhagen Wolves will happily take this Baron.
Baron really hates Huma. And also, they clearly hate making calls around it. Because they make so many bad decisions when it comes to the Baron itself and how to disengage. Like, their plan was to force a fight because they thought some of the Copenhagen Wolves members had gone back to base, and then have Godbro apparently flash out and try and stun as many as possible. But realistically, you're only going to get 1 or 2 targets, and one of them is going to be Wicked, who also has QSS in this game. Like, look at the fight here. So this is super risky because Wolves are still around. They're still very healthy, by the way. Wicked misses the hook. Godbro flashes forward. Spell shield Sivir, QSS Nautilus, and he just gets popped instantly. Like, I hate to say it, this Cassiopeia is just... it has no value.
And Pinoy, the spell shield was out, but I believe Pinoy was actually out of the zone anyway. So it's like so many of these things were available for the Wolves to kind of just stand there and take it, and then you go, okay, well, you just use Flash. It's your escape tool on this very squishy carry, and you're right, this Cassiopeia. honestly, there is a fair reason why we have not seen her a lot in recent play, and with so many engage tools in the current meta, from just about every top and jungle champion, it's so difficult to actually output that damage.
And it's just fun how this game, like in terms of, you know, when are the composition is really strong, it's gonna like kind of up and down. Wolves were so strong in the early to mid game. Huma needed to get these fully stacked tiers and like 2 items completed, and they were suddenly very strong and would get more even fights. But then going even further into the game, when you have, again, a champion like Cassiopeia who struggles to deal damage, and then Corki and Sivir who has fantastic late games now in terms of their damage, and you have that front line of Braum and Nautilus. We've gotten to the point where Copenhagen Wolves, as long as they can CC Cassiopeia, they can just out DPS Huma in the fights, and we just keep going like up and down in this.
It's so rare you see a composition's power spike be like a sine graph. You know, usually it's like a parabola, so it's like strong at the start. Maybe they have a dip in mid game and then late game they spike again. But yeah, we're all over the place in this one.
I think Wolves' comp though is strong at almost any point in the game, from like super good when it comes to the early to mid game in terms of pushing, with Nautilus pushing, Corki pushing, Sivir pushing. I think this is the kind of composition we will see a lot more of in this meta with Sivir now in it, and just so much pushing power and strong mid game fights. And then because you have the scaling of these carries, and Ku is trying to go ham.
Ku just went into the base. I believe he kicked Godbro into his team, but when he's the only one in base, that doesn't really help. Wicked is trying to get out of here. Lancer
Pinoy's trying to get a tower.
Meanwhile, bot lane's being pushed in by Pinoy. That will be the tower going down. Can he get a collapse to happen? No, they'll just back away and disengage.
But look at that situation. Pinoy had the tower so very low, with the Baron up, on the minions. The same in mid lane. Wolves had it incredibly low. Look, it's half health. Ku goes in. Okay,
nice
so he does get Godbro, but he lands him 4 people. Like, look at the damage that's being done on the turret here. Huma couldn't really have stepped forward if Ku was back with Kadril and Wicked at that point, because you don't want to take that fight. And they were pushing down 2 inhibitor towers worth at the same time and doing it successfully. There was no reason to go behind the tower and make that play. It's the same as him trying to steal Dragon earlier. It now slows everything that the rest of the Wolves want to do.
The middle turret is very, very low. It just needs someone to come up and bop it, and then it will go down. But bot
twist
tower,
pull it,
twist it, pull it. Anything, any of those will just kill that tower.
Tip that tower, man.
Take it. So yeah, bot inhibit is now exposed for Copenhagen Wolves. So yes, they can go down there, but yeah, I absolutely agree. They have been definitely put behind. Wicked has actually had a good game on a tank. Like 008, okay, we've seen a lot of Dredgeline misses, for example, but he hasn't just been dying constantly. And really, we haven't seen a lot of good performances out of Wicked outside of Poppy and small champion pools. But yeah, on Nautilus, not too bad. Then again, Nautilus is more linear when it comes to different type of champions currently in the current meta. But
not quite Rammus level.
Yeah.
Not quite Rammus level, yeah. That is probably as linear as you can get.
I also feel like Wicked, maybe this is too far on this, but has like reverse stage fright. That he's obviously more comfortable here. Because we even saw a Furor game that was decent by him.
Yeah.
A couple of mistakes, but generally seemed in his element here. Compared to how a lot of players get when they come up onto the big stage, and it's just like, you know, you don't want to make the big plays, you're not used to being aggressive, or at least being in the situation like this when you're playing aggressive, so you want to play a little more conservative. That just hasn't really shone.
But it's funny, right? Because you look at Huma and these old guys who have been on the LCS stage before, and
here's
will go for another engage. They will pull the trigger. That is something that Huma have not been afraid to do in this series. And Wicked has managed to find Godbro. He'll go into Zhonya's. Everyone is still alive, but I believe Cass will be going down here. In fact, Godbro will be the one to fall. Wicked's trying to get onto Rudy now. He's very tanky, and maybe they're starting to win out here as Holy Things is getting the damage down onto these big tanks. Pinoy is the only person remaining. Has to triple kill, looking for that quad, but Wordle will come in with a shutdown as a 5-for-2.
These late game fights here are just insane between the teams. Copenhagen Wolves were fighting just outside the tower of Huma, and they didn't manage to single out Godbro early. He actually got to Poppy's hourglass this time and buy a bit more time, and then he flashed in, tried to land the ult and end up going down, but they bought enough time for Holy Phoenix to stay back, and we still see these tanks here staying alive for such a long time. Death timers are extremely long at this point.
This might be long enough. 20 seconds on Nuke's a lot, 20 seconds on Ku.
Now.
The rest of the team, however, are not available. So this is
I think Nuke's might be able to buy time with Ku. Take bot tower instead, maybe, if you are Huma at this point.
Stack. Or just back away.
Or just play safe.
Vision maybe for Baron is coming up in 1 minute 20.
You could see even on the player pictures there, Ku just kind of scratching his head in a little bit of relief as Huma backed themselves away. But for this fight, look at how far Pinoy gets blasted back out of the fight, and then how untouched he is. Yeah, it's all the engage. Pinoy is out of the fight for a while, but is untouched for so long. Then it's all on Holy Phoenix now. Holy Phoenix and Godbro for the rest of this fight. Pinoy, yes, he's off doing damage at the side, but his damage actually isn't doing all that much. It's taking him a long time to kill a tank.
He also tunneled so hard on trying to get Godbro off to the side there. He actually had a moment where he ran around and didn't hit anyone.
Yeah.
Where he didn't get to burn down any of these tanks. And then he tried to get a Godbro, then ended up flashing in and killing him anyway. But we are just at the point where these comps are in so many ways so even that one mistake in a fight, suddenly your team loses it and the game is over. And it goes for both teams, honestly. You know, in the end, though, managed to kill a lot of
I was
damage.
going to say, he looked like he was struggling to output damage.
Never
Just
mind.
the deception on how tanky people are.
I mean, it helps with their AoE damage from Sivir as well when you have these big
Hit a tank,
5-on-5
you just
fights.
get the bounces, which
Yeah,
crit,
man,
yeah.
the tanks just have more health
Yeah,
to
man.
take out.
One thing we need to look at after the game, though, is how much damage did Godbro even deal to champions? Because it's probably going to be extremely low. That fight dealt about 2,000. Willa did 4k on this Trundle here, running around with Trinity Force, Titanic Hydra and everything.
Godbro should be spiking now again because he's just hit max stacks on his aspect of the Serpent, and he's just picked up another couple items. So in terms of damage output, he has a lot of it. He just needs to get it out. And
You
that's
just
the problem
can't because you're
against,
targeted
yeah,
at the
against
time.
Nautilus, Lee Sin.
He needs to be bait. He just has to be bait, honestly.
Yeah.
Despite him. That's why he's also flashing in properly and trying to sacrifice himself, landing that ulti.
Just
Because
put the Cassiopeia on a stick, wave it in front of Copenhagen Wolves, have them jump on Godbro. He goes into
slow.
zombies. And Huma should be able to pick up a kill. This is like reverse Huma now, as Copenhagen Wolves are trying to take the Baron, but it's dropping low. Rudy comes for the engage, the spell shields it out by Pinoy. He doesn't have that down for another couple seconds. Huma are backing away. The front line's still very tanky. Wicked is the only
Still
one on
won't
Baron.
do it.
He's taking so much damage from this. He pops Titan Trap again.
Don't stand on the
Don't stand
spikes.
behind him. It takes even more damage. And Baron is going to town on Wicked currently. Now Copenhagen Wolves still going on to that Baron. Rudy looking for a potential steal. He's over the wall. World is taking a lot of damage from
Who's
Cage.
gonna die?
Pinoy. That's going to be the flash, the knock-up.
dead?
Pinoy's knocked into the backline. Baron is still alive. He's putting the damage now onto Huma. But Nuxalon is dropping low. Another body slam lands onto the support. That'll be a double kill out for Holy Phoenix. Wicked gets destroyed as he
That's
tries to
it.
escape from
No
the fight.
team is allowed to go
Cajal
Baron
is
anymore.
still alive. That's the teleport down mid lane. Cajal, his recall has been stopped. That'll be the ace coming out for Whirlip. And now Godbro pushing down the middle lane. And we now have a series on our hands, ladies and gentlemen, as Huma come in and take down these Nexus turrets, and will be securing this third game in this best of 5 in the Challenger Finals here in the Spring Split. Huma bring it to game 4.
The second game in a row with a really strange ending.
like Huma basically just let the Baron do all the work there because they just kept hovering around it, and Wicked stayed in the pit, didn't feel like he could walk out, and then Ku jumped in. Like suddenly the call was finish it, while the rest of the team were calling no we can't, and then Ku ends up jumping in also going low, and Huma was just kind of like, oh well, I mean, Baron is killing you, we don't have to do anything, we just gotta stand here.
Well, look of relief perhaps from some of the Huma players. Not elation perhaps, because that wasn't like a super clean game. But yeah, Copenhagen Wolves did not look good after that win, after that loss rather. They would look good after a win, because that would have been them.
That would have been it. They'd be out.
Yeah, we're going to game 4 now, and it was sloppy from both teams.
This was a very very sloppy game. I feel like the other two, it's been a lot of fighting, but there's been some very good elements. Like
Right.
this one, it went into solo queue in mid game basically. Copenhagen Wolves were far ahead, and they started making these random engages with like Ku going in alone, and we were
Ku's
like,
the big one.
like what's going on here? Suddenly, Huma gets back, and then their dreadful Baron again actually almost lost them another game.
I mean, I mentioned it about how old pick for Ku slipped back into his old mentality, where it was like, I'm just going to try and carry, I'm going to try and get kills, everything, and then, there's not actually a whole lot of strategic play on the map there. And that was a big regression from the Wolves, from what we had seen in previous games, what we'd seen in previous series. They're going to need to fix that.
Well, now we're going to game 4. We're going to hand it over to the analyst there to take a look at that last game.
Thank you very much. It is game 4, but man, was it close at times. A lot to talk about, especially at the end. We want to bring it back to the start, though. A lot of comfort picks again coming in for the Copenhagen Wolves that they keep getting their hands on.
Yes, I mean, the picks and bans was quite interesting because for the third game in a row, they had the core of Corki, Sivir, and Braum on the side of Copenhagen Wolves. But what I really liked was the adaptation for Huma. As the casters so rightly pointed out, Jax was going to be banned, but they put Werlib on a split pusher anyway on that Trundle. He played incredibly well. For the first 20 to 25 minutes, I felt like he was using the side lanes quite well. He was putting pressure, and multiple times throughout the early game, Copenhagen Wolves did not know how to deal with it. We saw 1 or 2 teleports from Wicked that truly could have been more damaging because he was saving his own towers and alleviating any potential for pressure.
Wicked was basically playing a game like 1 step ahead instead of 2. Like, it's like, oh, I gotta save this tower. Okay, I saved it. Now what? And then they had teleport disadvantage, and it allowed Willop to just put that much pressure. I think the Trundle pick definitely won the pick and bans, but still I don't think Kato should get Corki every time, because I think there are weaknesses in his play that can be exploited, and he just gets a free lane every time on the Corki, and he does it well. But all that early game kind of doesn't matter anymore once we got to the late game and all these... Yeah, this is where the term Clown Fiesta comes in a little bit again. I like the first 2 games, but this was sloppy.
Well, Huma was in a good position once again, and it reminded us so much of Game 2 around Baron. Deficio said no team is allowed to go Baron anymore. Let's take a look at one of the team fights where Copenhagen Wolves come back and set foot into taking that 3rd game decisively because of some interesting decision making.
Yeah, just key elements. Just CC needs to land. The pillar here is a big zoning tool, and once that goes down, Wicked kind of has free entry back again, and it's easy targeting right here. Look at Godbro, like he's forced into the pit. He tries to go in, but his ulti doesn't really connect it out. And Kato does a fantastic flash here on Je suis Kaz, and Pinoy is untouched. If Sivir can be untouched in these fights and get the ricochets off over and over and over, any of Corki and Sivir survive, the fight will be lost. And that was honestly very well played by the Wolves to really punish that mistake, and that was Huma kind of failing to pull the trigger again at the right time and then panicking into a mistake.
I didn't feel like the Cassiopeia had a lot of opportunity to put damage down throughout the fights, and I also feel it was difficult because for the majority of the team fights, Ku was able to pick Godbro out and just like eliminate his potential. There was a number of times where he was comboed with some of the other guys on CW, and I was very impressed with how they were able to shut that Cassio down.
Yeah, but that actually is highlighted a little bit in our second replay. Cassio goes down every time, but at one point she gets so far behind that it may actually not be smart to focus her, because I think in this fight, it's actually all the aggro going on to Godbro, but just keep your eyes on Holy Phoenix, how he's relatively untouched overall, and how the tanks for Huma are soaking up so much damage. So look, everybody's busy dealing here with Godbro, trying to poke him down, but he has Zonia, so he's buying so much time. Holy Phoenix untouched right now. Still untouched, and he's just whacking away with blue as late game scaling, while the front line is soaking up so much damage. So it begs the question, is all this attention on the Cassio worth it, or should we just fake it out, force Zonias and switch? We being Copenhagen Wolves, and this is completely rhetorical, we're not biased here at the analyst desk.
And there are the Copenhagen Wolves as well. I mean, they have to bounce back now, and it must be hard when they were so close and they have no one to blame, I guess, but themselves, because the team fights could have gone either way, and it was Ku actually that overextended a couple of times in there.
Yeah, I felt so too. You know, leading up to some of those mid lane fights, Ku actually overextended for Godbro with absolutely zero support. He went in for a flash kick behind the inhibitor.
He wanted the highlight reel. He's like, okay guys, we're 2-0. I heard Nukeslot is a front runner for MVP. No. That's my title. I'm going to get some kick flash in. Sadly, it didn't work out. He tried to steal that dragon once too. Yeah. Just a little... Yeah, green, I feel. Like, you have to keep your composure there and just make sure you finish the series clean.
And here's Huma as well. Obviously, things will be looking up. The hand warmers always necessary for a good performance. Definitely very, very important. Can't be, what's that called? Undercooled, cooled. There's like a fancy word for that.
Frostbite is a serious
condition
here.
Yeah, I don't know where you're going.
You don't know where I'm going. But
sorry.
let's go to the last replay, which is the Baron fight, because obviously decision-making is a problem for both of these teams, but I think like here in this one, the Copenhagen Wolves, I mean, they have the right idea for most of the time.
They stalled the Baron out, so they wanted to have Wicked tank the Baron up and not take damage, but eventually he's going to take damage, and obviously Huma not suffering from hypothermia right here.
That's it.
They're keeping their heads just cool enough, and eventually they stall it out, and they will end up taking this fight because they realize what Copenhagen Wolves are doing. Copenhagen Wolves are doing like, okay guys, let's finish the Baron. We have no damage. Oh, we lose a team fight.
It's also so interesting when you consider all of the previous fights. Copenhagen Wolves have been so decisive, have been so aggressive, so on point. This time around, they show an error of caution and say, hey, let's chill things out for a little bit and play this one slower. And it ends up coming back to bite them. When Copenhagen Wolves won those fights from the 30-minute plus mark, it was because they were aggressive. It was because they were able to find a target and kill him. Now, you should argue maybe they shouldn't have gone for Godbro once or twice, but this time around they play patient and they get bitten for it.
This was slightly different though. Their goal there was to force a fight that they could then win. But because they didn't actually put enough pressure on the Baron, Huma could wait it out. If Huma would have entered into the trap, then obviously Copenhagen Wolves could strike. But the ideal scenario there after the failed bait is kind of to actually retreat to the left side, reset the fight entirely, and then hope that Huma starts the Baron so you then can swerve in for your flank. Copenhagen Wolves kind of stepped into the Baron pit themselves, and then you saw the Alistar go in and knock them backwards. So they kind of stepped into their own trap, if it were, and Wicked took way too much damage. I liked it. The idea in the start, it was creative. But at one point, you have to be not too afraid to say, okay, guys, this play didn't work. Let's adapt.
Yeah. Before we go to break, you guys, do you think Copenhagen Wolves is going to close it in Game 4? Yes or no?
They have every capability to do so if they don't outplay themselves.
Crappo.
Yeah, the side lanes is worrisome. I think they do understand the value of a Trundle pick right now. I don't think we'll have the Trundle Maldos matchup in that order again. If we see it again, I think it will be Wicked play in a Trundle, and it will actually help Copenhagen Wolves because their bans and picks have so far been good.
And their blue side in this one. We will see what happens. We will be right back with Game 4, which is still match point for the Copenhagen Wolves, so don't go anywhere.